We're going to be reading into an argument rather than an article here, with the headline that loyalty to the NHS won't stop an exodus of underpaid junior doctors. This is from Byline Times. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is REGANELITE here with an argument of sorts from Byline Times with the headline that loyalty to the NHS won't stop an exodus of underpaid junior doctors. The National Healthcare Service is under threat unless the government starts properly paying its workforce, reports Michela Mascara. Apologies if I mispronounced the name. Yeah, this is, I think this is argument here. We've talked many times about how the National Healthcare Service, guys, is under serious strain. It really is. We are rinsing and repeating some things that I talked about. But the reason why I do it is because to remind ourselves that it is not because of the National Healthcare Service that it is in the state that it is in, but it is the privatisation that has gotten its reach into the NHS. It is the reductions of the budgets. And while the government will always argue that it is putting record amounts of money into the NHS, where that money is going and where it goes matters. The impact that Brexit has had on the National Healthcare Service has played a part too. And how has Brexit played a part in that? Well, what happened was, guys, to remind people, when we left the single market back in 2020, officially, when it officially happened, a lot of our workforce went back to the EU. They went back during the pandemic as well. Some of them went back home to their home countries during the pandemic. And they've not come back. And the reason they've not come back is because we have barriers up now that prevent making it easy for people to come and work and contribute to our country. So we've lost that workforce that we've had from the EU. Now, we have had an increase in non-EU workers coming into our NHS workforce. But the problem is, guys, it's cost us way too much money. The amount of money that is paid on consultants as well to help as well has cost a lot of money as well. The strain that is being putting on our doctors and junior doctors and everyone in the workforce is unparalleled. And if that's not and to exacerbate all these issues, guys, they have not had a proper working pay rise since 2007, 2008, something like that. And we are in 2024. We're talking more than 10, 15 years? Are we looking at 13, 14, 15 years since they've had a proper pay rise? I don't know about you guys, but that's effing insane. These are healthcare workers who save lives, who look after us, they treat us. Without a working and functioning healthcare service, the country will never grow the economy, as you keep hearing from both parties all the blimmin' time. A healthy workforce will mean a better economy for all. If you're not prepared to fix this NHS in the right way, this is not gonna resolve. It's just gonna stagnate again. Another thing that really grinds my gears, and I want to make this very clear, I do not in any way, shape or form trust Labour's shadow health secretary, Wes Streeting, when he becomes health secretary should Labour win at the next general election. I don't trust that man in any way, shape or form, especially some of the rhetoric that he has talked about and the way things he has said about our doctors and nurses when they are already going through crap as it is. And the current health secretary, Victoria Atkins, is another person who don't seem to give a damn either. One of the biggest problems is they just will not, in any way, shape or form, sit down around the table with its workforce to work out how they can help these workers to sorting out terms and conditions and pay for these workers, which is why strikes are continuing, guys, because they're not prepared to get around the table with it, this current government. Now, I do believe that Labour will get round the table and talk to them. I generally believe they will. I mean, I'll be looked like a fool if they don't, but I do generally believe that they will, because the NHS was founded by Labour, and I do believe they do care deeply about the NHS. However, I don't like the fact that they once again turn into privatisation for it. But it's all well and good, yeah, for these politicians and that to stand outside and clap for them during the pandemic. But when it comes to actually paying them, giving them everything that they need to ensure that they could give the best treatment possible for people, that's another question. The longest strike in NHS history by junior doctors has taken place, with junior doctors in England striking for 6 days from 7 a.m. on Wednesday the 3rd of January till 7 a.m. on Tuesday the 9th of January. This would have already happened, of course, guys. The British Medical Association, the BMA, are pushing for junior doctors to get a 35% pay rise, which will restore pay to 2008 wages in line with inflation. There are also concerns over changes to employment contracts which may see extended working hours without compensation, which jeopardise both the patient safety and the well-being of doctors. The strikes ended with no progress on pay talks, and the junior doctors are intending to hold balance on further strike action. Junior doctors are qualified medical professionals are working full-time while engaged in postgraduate research or further specialist training where they are crucial in delivering healthcare across the UK. From patient consultations to performing medical procedures and research, they work long hours in demanding conditions, particularly during the winter with rising COVID admissions to hospitals across the country. This issue cannot be ignored any longer by the government. In the middle of all this, the medical studies training to be doctors find themselves uncertain of their future employment, not only in terms of pay but working conditions and viable work-life balance, and the impact on mental and physical health. When you are not getting paid properly, when you are working such long hours as well, and you're not getting that, and you're not getting the pay as well, guys, pay that are able to pay your bills and your home and whatnot, it can have a massive effect on your physical and mental health, which in then puts your job, which would then puts you even more under strain and can make you prone to making mistakes as a worker as well. And that's just exacerbating these problems as well. The cost of living crisis is tied into this as well, because when people aren't able to pay their bills, with these higher mortgages, higher energy costs, these higher water bills, all the things that you normally pay for, when this is all adding up as well, that's just only exacerbating the unnecessary mental health on these people as well. Last year, it was revealed that some trusts have asked unqualified medical students to step in during strike days, even though their placements in hospital are meant to be purely educational. Medical students cannot strike as postgraduate doctors, but are allowed to show support to the picket lines. Under BMA guidance, they are protected under BMA guidelines if they are asked to do more than is required or to take place of a junior doctor. Steve, a final year medical student in Manchester, expressed the full backing for the strikes, saying there is overwhelming support for the strikes. They are fighting for our careers, for better investment in the service and better working conditions. Steve explained that the strikes have had an impact on student training. We get more one-on-one with consultations, which is great from learning experience on the wards, but we shouldn't have to get that because our colleagues are on strike, he said, arguing that these demonstrates the existing problems in the NHS. Around £2 billion was spent last year by the NHS to cover the cost of the strikes, which included paying for consultants to cover. Critics have argued that the strikes caused chaos and are in an already chaotic system. The argument that the strikes will cause overcrowding and overflows, but that was already happening before the strikes and will be happening after the strikes end. The service have been damaged for years with a lack of investment across so many areas, Steve had told Byline Times. I recall being in A&E one night where there were 3 separate overflow areas, and that was before any strike action. See, this is the problem. People think it's because people have this perception that the strikes are the main cause. No, this has been happening before the strikes. This will happen after the strikes as well. People have this perception that it's because of the strikes. No, it's not. It's not just because of the strikes. They're striking because the NHS is crumbled. It's on its knees. There are concerns about the future workforce of the NHS, about whether or not they will remain in the UK and the NHS. Last year, a survey of 10,400 people from the UK's 44 medical schools found 32% of participants were planning to practice abroad in countries such as Canada, New Zealand and Australia. An exodus of doctors from services would be dangerous, and while there are those that will stay, some will only stay 2 years, foundational years before changing careers. And the thing is, the pay rates are even better there in Canada, New Zealand and Australia. as well. So why would you want to stay in the UK if you're going to be a little bit less stressful, less stress, and better off in those countries, and the pay is better? Why would you want to stay in the UK as well? I completely understand why people want to move abroad. You hear that it is much better in New Zealand and Australia, from working hours to pay to overall health, Steve said. We're also probably going to see more people wanting to work in private healthcare rather than public. We all feel a gratitude to the NHS, personally for me, which is why I still work for them. But gratitude is not enough to sustain a workforce. A lot of people are turning to private healthcare because it's less stressful for them and they get more money for it as well. But it means that ordinary people have to fork out for that healthcare. And more people are turning to private healthcare in a desperate attempt to basically stay alive in some cases. In a written statement sent to Byline Times, Dr. Lafia Patel, BMA Representative Body Chair, said there have been increasing concerns about doctors at the start of their careers designed to leave the UK, and we have seen blatant recruitment campaigns to urge them to do so. However, this survey reveals that very real and worrying trend of doctors making the decision, even before they are qualified, to enter practice medical overseas, leave the NHS or leave the profession altogether. It is disheartening that medical students already recognise the extent of which our profession had been devalued, though constant pay erosion and declining working conditions have made up their minds. As a result, the NHS is not the right place for them to work. They are investing 7 years of their lives, starting out with the intent to be a doctor in our NHS, only to have that enthusiasm and commitment crushed out of them. If you want them to be, without the incentives of the NHS, the good stuff that it was before 2010, without those incentivizations that we've had before, they'll just leave. They'll just use the training and just leave. The government cannot continue to turn a blind eye to this increasingly untenable situation. The study clearly shows that the increased medical school place alone is not enough to turn the tide on this growing workforce crisis. It's not too late to fix this, but the power to do so rests with the government. Retention must be prioritised, and plans must address pay restoration, career progression and working conditions. The government must make a credible offer to our members to reverse 15 years of declining pay. Must be the starting point. When Steve graduates from his university medical degree, he will enter the UK's foundation programme as an F1, the first year foundation trainee doctor. The government says it will cost around $300,000 to train us. So why not pay us properly if you are worth so much, Steve said. As a medical student, I'm incredibly nervous about next year. I can only imagine how stressful it will be for me and for my soon-to-be fellow F1s. If we're putting so much investment into the training, where's the incentive for them to stay within the NHS? £300,000 its costs. Why are we not putting that cost towards the actual workforce we have? And this is the thing, guys. Their priority, the Conservatives in particular, is to privatise everything. Yeah, they want to privatise everything. This is really important. People need to understand this, okay? They don't care about the National Healthcare Service. They never have cared about the National Healthcare Service. The goal for them is for you to empty your life savings, your money, your hard-earned money, and for you to pay for the healthcare, for you to pay for your GP, for you to pay for your cancer treatment, to you to pay for your dying nan, to you to pay out of your pocket, like they do in the United States, guys. That's what they want. They say that they don't want to do that. Why are they going so much into privatisation then? Why is so much of the National Healthcare Service in privatised hands? Why is so much of it being going towards American healthcare companies, guys? Our NHS data is literally going to be in the hands of a company that has ties to the CIA, for crying out loud. And do you not see the warning signs here? If you are somebody who generally cares about the NHS and wants the NHS to succeed, you will not vote Conservative at the next general election. If you vote Conservative at the next general election, you are choosing to pay yourself out of your own pocket for healthcare. You are choosing to privatise the National Healthcare Service. You are saying F our workers, F our healthcare workers, who may have contributed and saved so many lives during the pandemic, as well as all the countless lives and things that they have done before them. The Conservatives don't care. And while, yes, I am greatly concerned about Wes Streeting and his comments and his attitude towards the National Healthcare Service, I'd rather take him right now and a Labour government than what this Conservative lot have done over the last 13, 14 years, guys. Because nobody was talking about an NHS crisis before 2010. No one was talking about all the issues that we have. I know some people will complain about I've heard 1 or 2 people still complaining about it, but the vast majority of the English public were very happy with our NHS, and that's not the case anymore. So, what do you guys think? What do you make of our National Healthcare Service? What needs to be done? What can be done? What do you think Labour should do? Can West Streeting be trusted? Can Labour be trusted with it, considering they are the ones who formed the National Healthcare Service? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. Hit the like button, we greatly appreciate it. Share this across social media and hit that bell notification icon so you'll be notified when I upload another video. And if you want to financially support me, you can do so by joining my YouTube membership for 99p or on Patreon for exclusive content. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.